Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Robert back with the Bards of Gaming podcast, episode 3. And just before we get started and get into things with this new episode, I just wanted to remind everybody where you can find us on social media and stuff. We are trying to grow our presence and, spread the word out on social media about the podcast. We're trying to get more listeners just because, we enjoy doing this. But you can find us on Instagram at The Bards of Gaming, and you can find us on X or Twitter at 2BardsOfGaming with the number 2. So with that being said, let's get into episode 3. Hope you all enjoy it. All right, everybody, how's it going? We are back with episode 3 of the Bards of Gaming podcast, where we do our best to raise the bar and play the games that aren't too hard. And I'm here joining my buddy Fred, my old sham sandwich. How you doing, bud?
I am fan-fucking-tastic, my sweet little...
What? Okay, we're cutting that out. No, we're doing it live. Sweet little nothing. Sweet little nothing.
I was gonna say, I don't know what the fuck. I'm tired. Why the hell?
Yeah, so for those of you, for a little bit of context, we are both extremely exhausted. We both work day jobs like a chump. I'm in construction, and he's a mentally exhausted IT professional.
Yeah.
So this is us trying to piece together a podcast at almost 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday.
Customer service, yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of this week, I am shipping off and flying to Japan for a vacation, and I cannot wait.
I'm really excited for you, man. I'm super glad you're getting to go there.
Thank you. I cannot wait. So by the time this video is going to upload, I will be, I believe, back in Tokyo. So I will be taking care of the podcast and everything while I'm away and trying to make sure that this episode gets uploaded on time. So, yeah.
Rob, thank you very much for all the hard work you do for this podcast. Sincerely.
Dude, anytime. I love doing it. It's fun. You know me, I had enough on my plate and I was like, hey, let's do a podcast.
Let's just make more mental stress for us.
Yeah. Who needs sleep?
We got G Fuel.
I work construction. I'm a full-time college student. Let's do a podcast. Like, come on. So anyway.
Anywho.
On this week's episode, we are actually going to be talking a game that is very near and dear to Fred's heart. It's called 7 Days to Die.
7 days.
So I was recently introduced to this game, but I want to pick your brain for a minute there. Because you've been playing this for significantly longer than I have.
Yeah, definitely a while. I've been playing since Alpha 15, when you had to piece together your mini bike, and you really, really fucking hoped that you could find a basket to put on there so you could have some storage.
What year would you say that was?
I believe
that you started.
I was in college, so it must have been 2016.
Okay. Yeah, so for context, I guess, like, this game came out in 2012?
2012 sounds right.
2012, 2013?
Yeah.
And, yeah, we have not really covered any modern games yet on this podcast, but that's okay. We are covering great games on this podcast. So, yeah, I believe this game came out. You're going to look it up.
I am. I'm looking it up now. Yeah, December 13th, 2013.
Okay, so this game is about 10 years old.
Yeah. It's been out for a long time.
Yeah. And
it's still not fully released.
No, it is it is notoriously still in alpha. Except now, I believe Xbox is recognizing it, and they put it on Game Pass, so you could play the was it like the demo of it or something like that, or I forget what they call it.
I'm really glad of that. This is one of those games where, like you said, it's near and dear to my heart. It's one that I it came about when there were all of the massive push towards survival games and voxel based games where everybody was trying to copy Minecraft. So it came out, and initially it was, in my mind, it was just kind of, oh, okay, it's just another one. And then, 3 years later, I actually sit down and play it, and I realize, oh, no, it's not. It's actually its own thing.
Yeah.
It continues to amaze me and impress me with what the Fun Pimps have done with this game. Taking ideas that they've had in the past, literally revamping the entire engine to get rid of some bugs and exploits, just to make this game better, not for themselves, but for the community. It's another one of those, just similar to Castle Crashers, where you play the game and you understand, oh, they're not in it for the money. They're in it for the fun of gaming.
Yeah. They want their community, and there is a community behind this game, but they want their community to have fun. And they, as far as I know, and I'm sure you could tell me better, but they're very supportive of the mods that people have created for this game. So we'll get into that a little bit later.
We'll definitely get into Darkness Falls.
Yeah. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer podcast. So anybody who likes zombie games, Minecraft-esque games, you enjoy. But so I got introduced to this game over the summer. Or what time? When did we start playing it? Like June-ish? Because it's like October now.
I think it was July.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because I think my buddy gave this to me for my birthday. And another friend of mine, friend of the podcast, he has always loved this game. And I've watched him play it on Discord, like through stream, whatever. And he's always wanted me to join him. Because for the last 10 years or whatever, since we were in high school, me and this friend, we've been survival buddies. We've always played survival games together, whether it be, Minecraft back in the day, The Forest, or Icarus, or Grounded, whatever. Yeah. So we've always played survival games together. And he was like, dude, I love this game. I've loved this game for years. You got to join me on this game. And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty burnt out with zombie games over the last 15 years. Like, I have Minecraft. I have other games I can play. And it was like around the time of my birthday, and he just got it for me. And he's like, dude, I know you're not going to buy it on your own. But here, happy birthday, play with me. I was like, all right. So it was when that happened, and then I saw that you had also played it, and then we had talked, and then we started all playing it together, and I became obsessed with it. Yeah. For a little while.
You did. You were the driving force behind the server.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, you started a server for you, me, your wife, and my buddy, and we played it a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess we should get into a little bit about what the game is. Yeah. Really. So would you like to explain?
Sure. So it's the literal caption for it is the survival horde crafting game. And that's exactly what it is. It's survival. There's hordes of zombies, and you're crafting.
You're also hoarding items.
And you're hoarding items. You hold on to so much murky water. You hold on to so many pills, so many vitamins, so many antibiotics.
Sham sandwiches.
Then Sham sandwiches.
With Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire. What the fuck is that?
We are exhausted.
No mental capacity. What is that?
I can barely stand up. I'm so sorry.
So it's a game that it took off from Minecraft. It took off from those voxel based games, and it still does stay true to that.
You can definitely see that instantly when you start playing it.
Yeah, you look at it, and it's you start off usually in a forest, and there's a town nearby, or at least that's now how it is. Back in the good old days,
it's like Daisy style, and you start like in the middle of a fucking field.
You start in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have any clue where the next town is. You're just fucked.
Yeah, this game will do a pretty good job at usually starting you like on a property. Yeah. So you can definitely see the influences of Minecraft when you get into it, and it shares. So I played a little bit of DayZ back in the day, back when it was an Arma 2 mod. Yeah. I never played the actual full release of of DayZ, sorry. Yeah. But like it kind of mixes the two worlds together in a sense, especially if you were to like play online on a public server.
Yeah, I can see that.
But like, the cool thing about this game is, like, unlike Minecraft, not everything is blocks. So the world itself, like the trees, yourself, the cars, like everything is actually like 3D rendered objects. Mm-hmm. And even when you break the ground, it's, whatever, like it breaks like ground, kind of.
Yeah, or at least as best you can with voxel base.
Yeah, so it's pretty. But then once you start, building buildings or breaking buildings, then you can definitely see that everything is cube based essentially. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot to this game, and I see the influences that you're saying of Minecraft and kind of like a little bit of like Left 4 Dead with the with the melee and stuff, and it's very.
And that's just base level. You get deeper into the lore and you understand. They're. You know what? I'm going to hold off.
Yeah,
on that
we'll definitely get to that. Yeah, so let's start by kind of going into it. If we have any gripes on the game, like, is there anything about this game that you actually don't like?
I'd say.
The fact that it's still an alpha?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. It's a game that I love the fact that it's still an alpha because they're still producing it. They're still grinding away at it. It's not... I'm not going to shit talk any other games, especially ones about dinosaurs.
I know exactly where you're going with that.
But... it's still an alpha, and the Fun Pimps are still very much hard at work at it, and they're expanding their teams. So I can't really say that it being an alpha is really too much of a gripe.
And it is a small team.
It is a small team. They're growing, but it is still a small team. You know, I know Joel. I don't remember exactly what the dev team was originally, but I know it was him and I believe his brother that kind of started it off, and they just kind of kept growing with it, and just kept gaining more people who were just interested in it because they loved the game.
Yeah.
And that's it to me. That I think is amazing. And that's not a gripe. We have to stick on gripes. I am extremely tired.
You're good, man. Honestly, I don't really know how many gripes about this game that I have. I mean, I guess it's not even a gripe because it is what it is, but you can kind of feel the game's age.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is 10 years old and almost, it's 9.5, whatever. But
happy birthday.
Yeah. But like the game is 10 years old, and with certain aspects of the game you can feel it, you can see it. Games don't tend to play like that anymore. So maybe indie games, which this is, but certain physics of it feel a certain way. Graphically. But I mean, again, if you look back at old gameplay footage of this game, it has come so far.
Exactly.
The UI in this game now is just like, it's like looking at Elder Scrolls 1 versus Skyrim. It's holy shit, is this different, you know?
And that's the beauty of it, is excuse me, you look at the patch notes, they're adding features, they're adding gameplay, they're adding
toilet guns,
plenty of toilet guns, except for me where I can't find a damn toilet gun. Why the fuck can't I find a toilet gun? Sven, if you're listening to this, how the fuck do you find so many toilet guns?
We'll get into that.
But they're adding all of these features. But at the same time, they're primarily focusing on bug fixes too. Yeah. So all of those gripes that you have from previous alphas, the amount of cheating that you can have, the guns falling through floors,
traitors falling through floors. By the next alpha, you're not going to have that. Yeah. So any gripes that you have on the current alpha, they're really hard to stick on. You know? Yeah. I mean, I guess my only gripe with the game, and it's really, again, it's not even a big gripe with the game. It's just that it doesn't have a story. And that's part of the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess we're going to kind of get away from the gripes because we really don't have any to pick this game apart with. Now, I got to say, just spoiler alert, I cannot give this game a perfect rating. I can't. And we'll get into why later. But I don't really have a lot to complain about because, like you're saying, anything that I choose to complain about now is probably going to be fixed by the time that the next alpha comes out. So, or at least, different or whatever. Things are constantly changing.
You know what? I'd say I do kind of have a gripe.
Okay.
And I think it's more along the line, again, it's so hard to do because, by the next alpha they might fix it. But currently, I don't like how they have the gun system. I don't. Okay. I believe that early on, sure, it's primitive. It's not going to be much, but at the same time, there's plenty of things they could have added as far as weaponry goes, as far as equipment goes. I mean, you start off with just, you're naked. You're naked and afraid. Mm-hmm. That's really what it boils down to. But you start off, you've got just...
It's cold and scary.
I'm shrivelly. But you start off with nothing, and the first thing you make is a primitive bow, and that's how it's been across the board the entire time. You get that, you get essentially a wooden club, and the first clothing you really make is plant fiber, and it's kind of stayed like that. And again, I get it, but I feel like there's ways that they could have been a bit more creative on how they did that, because you look at other games similar to it where you start off with bare basics. It's kind of the same thing just over and over, Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny. I did think of one thing I would like to point out. It's not even necessarily a complaint, because as you play, you kind of get used to it, but the menu system.
Yeah.
The when you press tab or whatever it is that you set your binding to, because this is a PC game primarily, so I only played it on PC. It is on Xbox now. I have no idea how it plays on Xbox. But the menu system on PC, when you press tab or open up your character menu, your inventory, it is so confusing. I don't know if they made it with Unity originally or what they did, but it feels very not dated and not basic. It's not basic by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like it gives you too much to look at, and it becomes very, especially when you're new, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to get lost. So I remember when we started playing and you were trying to tell me, no, you got to go to this tab, add me to the friend group or the clan or whatever the hell we had going on. And I'm like, how
do I do this?
Yeah, where?
You've got a person icon there, which, okay, yeah, that's kind of basic and simple. You can kind of figure that out, but there's really no hand-holding to this game. I mean, there's the intro of, okay, here, make your stick, make your clothes, make your campfire, have fun.
Pretty much, yeah.
Have fun storming the castle.
Here's your, okay, we're going to give you a 5-minute tutorial. Here's how you pick up sticks. Here's how you make a wooden club. Here's how you make a bow. Here's how you make some arrows. Now go walk a mile and find the nearest trader. Good luck.
And hope that trader isn't underground.
Yeah. And try not to, stumble across any properties with dogs on them all the way there, Mr. Naked and Afraid.
That's the biggest pain in the ass, too.
But again, I have no complaints about it because it adds such a key element to the game.
It does. It gives you that. I remember saying a long time ago, it gives you the atmosphere of being afraid at the beginning.
Yeah.
You have that kind of anxiety almost because you don't know what's around. You don't know what you're getting into. And even I have something like 4,300 hours played in this game.
Oh my God, yeah.
Way too many hours for one person. I should be ashamed of that. Anyway, so you've got this anxiety almost of what's around the next corner. Am I going to run into a dog, like you said? Yeah. Am I going to run into a lumberjack? Because the zombies, to an extent, are... I want to say they're randomized, but they're not. I mean, if you go into a POI, if you're not sure of that POI, you could easily run into something you're not ready for.
The POI is in point of interest?
Yes, point of interest. Yeah. Point of interest.
So, I mean...
And that's... I will continue to use POI, so yes. POI does stand for point of interest, to point that out.
Yeah. And real quick, I mean, I just want to break it, but, okay, so gripes, we really don't have any.
No.
I mean, the menu is convoluted and annoying, but once you play it for a while, you kind of get used to it. So to get away from any gripes we have, to go into what we love about the game, and to build off of what you were just saying there, I would like to point out that one of the beautiful things I think about this game is yes, I mean, you start out, and no matter how experienced you are or veteran you are at the game, the game throttles you so much in the beginning. I mean, it really comes down to what you find, how you build your character, and
how many toilet guns you get.
How many? Yeah, because I mean, I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, and what point of interest you start near, and what you're going to be doing. But the main thing I love about this game is how random things are. Mm-hmm. So every time you start up a new world, it gives you a whole new map. And granted, a lot of the points of interest are the same, buildings are the same, whatever. But where they are, how they're laid out, and where you're started, essentially, like everything is always fresh from the beginning. Like I've started in worlds where like I'm 100 meters away, not even like I'm 20 meters away.
You're looking at the trader.
I'm looking at the snow.
You're looking at the snow.
And I'm standing in the woods and I'm looking at the snow and I can see a wolf over there and I'm like, all right, I'm clearly not going to walk that way as I just spawned into this new world.
Yeah.
But it's like, I love that randomness to it.
Oh yeah.
And I love how they do make it hard in the beginning. They make it so that you struggle. You could be a 4,300 hour veteran player at this game, or you could be
ashamed.
Or you could be a 5-minute player at this game, and you're both going to start the same way. Granted, you're going to know exactly how to get through the tutorial, how to level your character to your preferences, and go from there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it easier, necessarily.
No. And that's, honestly, 4,300 hours in. 4,300. I'm still, when I spawn into a brand new game, I'm still nervous to touch a POI. Yeah. Because I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't have my bedroll down. I have a stick in my hand. I was going to say something else. So I have my weapons in my hand, but they're basic. There's nothing that I have for protection. Yeah. So I go in there, I find a dog.
You're done. You're dead.
One other, we already switched off of Brex, but here's one that I thought of.
What do you got?
The debuff system in A21.
Debuff system?
The debuff system where you sneeze and all of a sudden you have dysentery. You walk wrong and your leg is completely mangled.
Yeah.
You find a zombie and all of a sudden you're holding your head in your hand.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, like, okay. So I don't know if it has something to do with the way I play or what. I tend to not get hit with a lot of that.
Okay. Okay.
But I can absolutely attest to the concussions. And again, not necessarily from my personal perspective. I think I've gotten hit with a couple of them, but playing with others and somebody happens to walk into a house, turn a corner, get hit in the head by a zombie, and now you're concussed. And now it's like, okay, who has antibiotics? It's like, you know?
Yeah. Nobody, because they don't exist in the freaking early game.
Yeah. I mean, it's early on, it's tough. You're essentially what you do in this game early on. And you get through your 5-minute tutorial, you find a trader. It could be anywhere from like 100 meters away to right next to you, to a mile away, whatever. You find your trader, and they give you a mission. Yeah. So you go out, you do a mission. Usually the early on mission is like, oh, go kill fucking 10 zombies at the gas station, you know, clear out the gas station. Or it's, hey, you know, find a shovel, go get some buried treasure that's, you know, down the road.
Sandwich and cat food.
Yeah, or like 9mm ammo that you can't use yet.
Yeah. And
we keep referencing this toilet gun, and I really want to just say real quick. So notoriously in this game, it's a rare drop essentially. Yeah. But as you're going through points of interest, say you get tasked with going on a mission down to, you know, a house down the road or whatever, and you're walking through this house and you're clearing the house out of zombies. You come across a bathroom. Hey, let me look in the toilet. You look in the toilet. You search the toilet. There's a fucking pistol in the toilet. Like. A good pistol. So it's gonna. There's so much I'm gonna branch off and get into, but yeah, I just wanted to point out that that's what we're talking about. There is a random chance to get a semi-automatic pistol, which in this game is something to be grateful for.
Oh yeah. Especially
early game.
Oh yeah. Now going back to what you were saying about the missions, right?
Yeah.
They are absolutely huge early game. You get so many things. It's not even just it
you need to do the missions.
Yeah, that's almost the tutorial. That's almost where they handhold you.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you want to do, you do. And that's the beauty of the game. You don't have to go and do these missions. You don't have to explore POIs. You can sit there, chop down trees, and make yourself a little tree fort, right, if you wanted to. But if you want to get into the game and really do it, the best way, in my opinion, is to do the missions. Yes. Because then it kind of forces you to have to get over that anxiety and realize, okay, the only way I'm going to advance is to face my fears.
Pretty much.
And the reason I stopped there is because that is kind of that just epiphany epiphanated for me for like life, because it's so true. Anyway, this isn't a philosophy podcast. This is about 7 days. But
7 days to ask why.
To ask why.
But yeah, no, you're right. And I agree with you 100%. Like the quickest way, the best way to get through early game and to get through even mid-stage game is to do the missions. Because as you do missions, say you do, 5 or 6 missions, 10 missions for the trader, you're doing tier 1 missions. Mm-hmm. And then once you're done with tier 1 missions, every time you do a mission, you get a choice of rewards.
Yes.
You can choose, okay, maybe there's a couple of books here. Like there's a crate of books. And books are how you get levels with certain things. We'll get into that. Yeah. But, you could choose to get the books, or you could choose to get some ammo, or you could choose to get, a baton or a weapon or something like that. Or you could choose when you're done doing the tier. So you get mission rewards, and then at the end of doing like the first 10 missions, you finish the first tier, then you get a tier reward. At the end of the first tier, you get a bicycle.
Yes.
That is a choice you can make, and if you choose not to get the bicycle, you're kind of an idiot, because that is the ultimate step in the right direction. Yes. Early game. That's
the only way. You get really tired really quick of walking everywhere because you run out of stamina so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, the bicycle by itself, it's not the best, right? It's a bicycle, right? It's just a regular bicycle.
But it's a hell of an improvement.
It's a hell of an improvement. When you're used to grinding your way through walking, I don't know why that sounded weird. When you're used to just going through and walking everywhere and not really getting as far as you want to suddenly having this amazing amount of freedom in this bicycle, it really opens the game up more, and you realize, oh man, there's a lot more I can do, even if you can't go that far. Yeah. And then once you get the mini bike or like the motorcycle, forget about it.
Yeah, and let's say there's a couple of key elements to this game that we haven't even mentioned yet, and that's that you do have a stamina meter, mm-hmm. and you do have to skill yourself, or when you level up, you get skill points, and you have to put skills into that so that you don't run out of stamina so fast, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But there's also sound makes a big difference in the game. So when you're riding your bike is quiet. You're not making noise. When you're riding your motorcycle, that makes noise. That attracts zombies.
I see where you're going.
If you're riding through a town, or if you're riding past a building or something like that, and you just happen to be making a lot of noise, or you're shooting your guns off or whatever, mm-hmm. you're attracting zombies.
Oh yeah.
You're raising your heat level, as you explained to me.
Yes. Now that real quick, I just kind of want to explain the heat level. That is how much activity is going on in a single area. So if you're using a forge, right? So if you're crafting, using a forge, using something that generates actual heat, or some amount of noise, or pretty much anything that you do in the game, it's going to increase your heat level, and that's going to cause zombies to start attracting and gathering towards you.
Yeah.
It's not noticeable at first, but eventually you start getting wandering hordes that pass right by your base. And if you keep going, you get the fucking screamers. And I swear to God, I don't know what happened, but they must have increased the amount of them, because I've never seen so many compile up in one area at one time.
We will share, towards the end of this podcast, we will share the Shotgun Messiah story.
The shotgun.
We will get there.
Oh God, that horrible experience. So great, but horrible.
That we'll stick around, and you'll hear one of the greatest stories that we have of playing multiplayer together. It almost blew up a computer, but so you have your heat level. Noise makes a difference. So when you're early on in the game, and you're done crafting like your wooden club, your spear, your axe, whatever, then you start to be able to move on and put points into building things like pipe weapons and pipe pistols and pipe batons. And this is, right after early game, once you start going through POIs and stuff like that, you start finding short pipe pieces, and short iron pipes, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And with that, you can start to make your first real kind of ranged weapons, but they come at a price. So the pipe pistol is a huge step in improvement in the game, but it sucks. It sucks a lot.
It really does.
And it makes a lot of noise, and it takes like 37 seconds to reload.
Yeah.
So if you're walking into an area, or if you got a wandering horde going past your house, and you happen to get the attention of more than one zombie at a time, and you're like, oh, let me pull out my pipe pistol, and blast them away. No, you're going to die. That's a terrible idea because you're going to pop off one round. God forbid you miss, and then all of a sudden now you're literally stuck there. You can't sprint. If you sprint, I think you're done reloading. I think it cuts it off if I'm not mistaken, but it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So,
and the pipe pistol, out of all the pipe weapons, the pipe pistol is the best one.
Yeah.
You look at the pipe shotgun. I mean, it's a single round shotgun that takes forever to reload.
Yeah.
You get, I guess the idea that they had behind that is you take a few of them, like you have a few of them in your inventory. Excuse me.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, and you just kind of like cycle through and bang, 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 and then once you get a chance, then you reload. But still,
you know what? Admittedly, it's been a month or more since I've actually played this game, but we did put a lot of time into this, and you just reminded me of one more little gripe that I have to go back. When you are changing items in your inventory, at least on PC, and you're using the mouse wheel to change items in your inventory, sometimes when you're doing it on the fly, say I'm going from a shotgun to my axe, because I want to cut a tree down or something like that. The amount of ammo that I've wasted because you want to change items.
I know where you're going with this.
And then before it gets the chance to actually switch items, you unload a round because you think you switch to the axe and you're going to cut a tree. No, you still are stuck on the shotgun and you start shooting the tree. It's just that pains me a lot because I've wasted a lot of ammo and I've attracted a lot of zombies with that stupid fucking decision.
Yep. And God forbid God forbid you forget to reload after that, and you have like a pipe shotgun or you have a pipe rifle, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, all right, I can take this out. Click.
Yeah. How many times have we been playing together and I have a shotgun in my inventory and I'm like, I can help you. I walk into the room, I step between him and the zombie, and I have no ammo. Loaded. I have plenty of ammo. But yeah.
Thanks for being my meat shield, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, bud. Hence the concussions.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, no, when you get to that point, you're going through these missions, right? That's kind of the biggest thing to get there. But you have such limited weaponry that you can use, so you still have this anxiety factor. Excuse me. Where you know that what you have is absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
You have to be as careful as possible. You're not bunny hopping around corners. You're not blowing people's heads off because you've got the best of the best automatic shotgun that you have.
Yeah.
You're being as careful as possible to see that zombie stripper in the corner, your next waifu.
Oh my God.
Is lying there. You don't want to wake her up because if you do, you're going to have to either waste your ammo on her and hope that no other zombies hear you, but know that they are. Yeah. Or you're going to have to hope that you have your bone knife or your baton or your club is going to be enough to take him out fast enough to where you can get away, because all of those weapons have massive drawbacks in the early game.
Yeah. And you also have to be sure that if you are able to knock them all back or kill them or whatever to try to get away, that you have enough stamina that you're able to get away.
That's the drawback.
And you also got to make sure that you're not carrying so much shit that you're weighed down and wasting more stamina. There's a lot to think about when you're playing this game.
Oh yeah. Especially early on. Once you get to end game, it kind of becomes second nature, and it's not as bad because you have increased inventory space. You have perks that help you with stamina. You've gotten the rewards from your hard work is what it really boils down to.
And yeah, absolutely. And there's certain things about this game like okay, carrying capacity always pissed me off. That's always the first thing that I upgrade my way or skill my way out of is being encumbered. Mm-hmm. But one thing I want to point out that I think is so cool is that, like, talking about noise and talking about, stuff like that, it adds... I have no gripes with that. It may be a pain in the ass sometimes, but it adds such a level of strategy to it.
Yes.
Because it also matters what armor you wear. Because, you can get early on in the game, fiber armor that you can make with grass and crap that you pick up.
Yeah.
But then you start, once you start going through houses and points of interest and clothing stores and stuff, because there are clothing stores.
Yeah.
You start finding armor. You might get lucky and find like a BDU top, which is like the military top, which is the best armor in the game.
Yeah. Now, real quick, I do want to kind of cut you off there because I get where you're coming from. So those pieces of clothing, they used to give you some kind of protection, but just the clothing itself now they really don't.
Well, no, yeah. I use the wrong term. Like clothing, yeah, that's just aesthetic, but because you can wear your clothing and your armor, separately. Yeah. But yeah, like thank you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like if you're wearing like scrap armor, you're gonna make noise. Just walking around is enough to attract zombies,
and at the same time, you're damaging your stamina by doing that.
Yeah. Because it's
just wearing it.
Because it's so heavy. I mean, you can get there's certain mods that you can get, and if you can figure out how to navigate the menu, you can put them in. And like I said, once you play enough and kind of figure it out and toy around with things, it'll become easy. But early on in the game, when you're starting with this game, if you have no one to guide you, it's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain. Yeah.
So.
I remember when I first started off, it was Alpha 15 and I didn't know anything. And luckily I had some friends who kind of played with me, but it was one of those where they had already played the game so much. They were so advanced. They had this giant mansion of a base that they had already, they took over. No, I'm sorry. That's something else I'm thinking of. So they took a skyscraper, I think, and they made that into their base.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's so many times that I'm thinking of. I can't remember exactly which one. But anyway, they took over POI and they made that their base. So they were basically done with the entire game at that point.
Oh, they took over that tower?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No. That's again, there's so many moments. No, that was later on. This was something else. But yeah, there was a base where they did take over. I think it was Higashi Tower or something.
Wow. and that kind of leads me into like I wanted to say earlier, and I just want to touch on this real quick. Like, yeah, that is one of the things I find amazing about this game is there is a decent crafting system because it's all voxel based, so it's similar to Minecraft. You can build things with blocks essentially, and there's also like actual stairs you can put in and roofs and handrails and cool stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also do what we did and what you're talking about that your friends did, which is like say you go on a mission in the early game and your mission is to clear out a house, just a residential house in a neighborhood. So you go through there, you clear out all the zombies in there. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now this isn't a threat. You do get something called a land claim block, which prevents missions from being able to be done on that property, and it also prevents zombies from spawning within your land claim. So I believe, right?
No, so I get where you're thinking with that. No, what it does is that's more for multiplayer purposes. And I apologize. I'm not trying to like poke holes in everything you're saying.
No, it's fine. Please. You're like I said, I was introduced to this game in July. It's October. Take it away.
Yeah. So that's primarily for multiplayer purposes where somebody can't there's like a dead zone where they can't like come in and they can't raid your base if you want to do that, right? If you don't put down that land claim block, then it's free game. They can just do whatever they want. What you're thinking of is with the sleeping bags where where that in a certain radius, I don't know exactly how many blocks it is, but the zombies won't spawn. And the more people you have, you kind of spread out your sleeping bags or your beds, excuse me, or whatever you're using over like a certain area, and that increases the amount of space zombies won't spawn.
Okay, so similar concept, different item.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So thank you for that. But yeah, so like you can when you're done with your mission or whatever, say you just come across a property you like, you can just kill everything inside of it and take it and fortify it, and that's one of the cool things about this game is that you can upgrade individual blocks as you continue.
Yeah.
But I want to get off of this and touch base more on I guess some of the things we haven't touched, like different biomes in the game and weapons and vehicles and some of the things like that I think make the game what they are. One of them being the plot. And there really isn't one. There is, kinda.
You have to find the plot.
You do. And it's kind of up for interpretation. There's a lot of videos on YouTube right now where it's conspiracy and, you know, different people's takes and interpretations on the story. Essentially, the story is like, you wake up and you have a sticky note in your inventory, and it says something along the lines of like, you owe us whatever, we took what we owed, or
the Duke, like, next time pay your dues or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Like, you owed this guy money, and essentially every trader, like, he's got like a racket going on, like mob style, where he's taking money from all the traders for protection or something like that. And
yeah,
like, that's the story. And I guess you're trying to find the Duke and whatever. Play the game, you'll see what we mean.
Yeah. And even within that, there's so much more to it, because you've got the Duke. That's kind of a main thing, and they haven't really touched much on the Duke. You know, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's you go through some of these POIs and you go through some of these missions, and you realize you get the backstory of the game too.
You do, with the newspaper clippings on the floor and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, it's really cool to just kind of see. Okay. It's not just, okay, you're in a zombie apocalypse. It's not this 2D world, figuratively speaking. But they have this backstory that when you're ready, when you want to, you can find it all out. I mean, that's, is it Higashi Towers? Is that the,
I think,
is that the end game?
Something like that.
Yeah, but you go through Higashi, I won't spoil anything for you with Higashi Towers, but when you're ready, go through Higashi Towers if you really want to see the plot, because there's a lot there.
And so this game, they rank difficulties with POIs and locations with skulls. Similarly to how you have like a Grand Theft Auto star system for difficulty, it's similar to that, but it's skulls. So you'll be walking through the forest area where you start, and you'll come up to a house, and it's like a 1 skull house, and it's like, all right, I might find half a dozen zombies in there, just regular zombies, shouldn't be too difficult, whatever. And the first area, the forest, will go from like 1 to 5 skull difficulty.
Yeah.
Then when you get to the snow area, now it's like there's an additional skull already just on the map, just for being in that area. So now that whole area is a 1 skull difficulty, and it adds a skull to whatever building you walk into. Mm-hmm. So now say you walk into a house, now it's what would be a 2 skull house is now a 3 skull house. So now you'll start having some radiated zombies, which is another kind of enemy type. There's a lot of different enemy types as well.
There are.
But so you get you have this difficulty system as you're walking through the game, and then you get to the desert, which I think is a 1.5 skull, and then you get to the wasteland, which is 2 skull, and then when you get to the wasteland, now that's where the game gets kind of interesting, because I mean the forest is the easy mode.
Yeah, that's your safe zone.
Yeah, it's once you kind of get going with the game, like there's no wolves, there's no cougars, there's no bears, there's just zombies, and there's no weather effect.
There's no vultures. Oh my god!
Yeah, there are
vultures
Yeah, there are. They're just in buildings.
Oh yeah, in building. I'm talking just when you're like walking around. You're not really gonna find any vultures unless you've generated heat.
Oh yeah, no. So they're pretty much just like on rooftops of certain buildings.
Yeah.
But so as you're, it's funny once you get to like mid to end game and you're walking around the snow biome in the desert in the wasteland. Once you finally come back to the forest area, you're like, oh, this is a cakewalk. And you're like, oh, I'm home.
Yeah.
Just in this whole biome. But so as you get to the wasteland, that's where the game starts to get really interesting, because the whole ground is bricks. So it's like a nuke went off. And that is essentially the story.
Mm-hmm.
So without getting into many spoilers, in case anybody does want to actually play this game, this area called the Wasteland is the end game. And there are certain POIs in this area that you know more about than I do. Care to elaborate?
Yeah, there are a bunch of different POIs. Higashi Tower, like I mentioned, that's a big one.
That's a Wasteland specific place.
Yes, I believe that is Wasteland specific. If I remember right. There's the different facilities, which actually you can find those pretty much everywhere. Like the Red Mesa facility, you can find that.
That's cool. That's probably in the desert, right?
Yeah, I believe that's in the desert. I mean, the different traders, even they kind of open up some of the story too with some of the missions that they give you. Excuse me. I'm just trying to think of what else.
The game is just very open ended.
Yeah.
There's no ending particularly. I mean, there is, like I guess beating Higashi Towers is like the end of the game.
Yeah.
In a sense, because by that point you have all the weapons, you probably have all the vehicles, you have, you're probably max level with what you need to be or want to be or whatever, and then once you're done with that, now it's just building and surviving.
Exactly. Hoarding as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we stopped playing, is because we reached a point where we were like, all right, well, we kind of have, everything but the gyrocopter, and so I guess to get into a little bit of the vehicles, there's just to touch base on it and experience it for yourself. But you have like your bike, a mini bike, a motorcycle, a truck, and a gyrocopter, and those are like all the vehicles pretty much. But
yeah. And that's they sound basic, but I mean they're milestones when you get them.
They really are. Once you unlock the mini bike, now you have motorized transportation. It's a little faster.
Still slow as balls.
And it makes a little bit of noise. Once you get the motorcycle, that thing's quick.
Yeah.
And you can kill zombies with that. But that thing generates a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And then once you get the truck, now you can carry your friends with you if you get the additional seating mod.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also store plenty of items in the thing.
Yeah.
And then you can also get different mods for that vehicle, like the fuel saver mod. Because that thing chugs gasoline.
Oh, doesn't it? And that's new to A21, because before it wasn't that bad. Like, it was not as much of just a fuel guzzler as it is now. It was you got the truck and that was like, okay, this is kind of my saving grace. I can store like everything I need and not have to worry about much, because it stored, I think as far as fuel goes, it stored something like 10,000, like an entire stack.
Yeah, but it goes so fast. And it's not hard to come across gasoline in the game, but it is a pain in the butt, because you have to dismantle vehicles or just raid enough bases to find, half-empty cans of gasoline and take it.
Yeah, and they did actually nerf that in this one, where it was a lot easier to find gas.
Yeah.
In the previous alphas, but with this one they actually made it quite a bit more difficult. Like, I remember our last game that we were playing, I specifically thought a few times, how are we this low on fuel this late in the game?
Yeah.
Because it was easily, previous alphas, you'd easily have 2 stacks without even trying.
We had no gas, but we had tons of money. But you can't buy gas.
You can't buy gas.
Yeah.
We had tons of... We had, what, like 240,000 coins?
Something like that. Like somewhere between that and like 300,000, and which is more than you'll ever need for anything in the entire game.
Yeah.
When the average item costs like a couple hundred coins or whatever like that, it's more than you like. To get a good weapon from a trader is like what, $2,000, $4,000, maybe 8, depending on the weapon.
Yeah,
later on. Yeah, like you can get a machine gun from a trader later on for like $8,000.
And I mean, it does range, or it does vary too. I mean, you can get ones that are, like they end up being something like, what, 10 to 50? No.
I don't even think I saw a weapon that was over 10.
No, because I'm thinking of gyrocopter parts, right, where they start to get disgustingly expensive to find that, or like the solar panels and things, those are disgustingly rare too, which makes sense because that's end-to-end game.
That's once you finally, like, you've built a functioning base with, security systems, turrets, and everything like that. Sorry, I'm just checking time here. Wow, we're actually 48 minutes. I feel like we're like 2 hours into this, and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of anything. I feel like we've just been all over the place with this. I'm so sorry, listeners. Like I said, we are both running on fumes right now. The only reason... I'm recording this a week and a half before we're going to be uploading it, only because I'm not even going to be in the country by the time this uploads. So... like we've been killing ourselves for the last couple weeks or last couple days to get everything that we need to get done so that we have time to do this tonight.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to be recording it over Discord with a questionable internet connection. So,
dang Japanese internet.
It's probably better than here.
It probably is.
I'll be honest. I don't know. They're so fucking beyond me. But
they have Gundams over there. They have giant mechanized robots.
Dude, they have Godzilla in Shibuya. This looks awesome. I think it's Shibuya. Anyway, to get back to 7 days. Yeah, so like there's, I mean, the vehicles are definitely, I'd say how I would rank milestones in the game. Mm-hmm. You know, you could do it with weapons. You could do it with, you know, whatever you build your base with. There's so many different ways to play this game, and it's different for everybody. And I think that's part of the beauty of it. Yeah. Everybody that plays this game has a different experience. I mean, I was just like, you built our base, right? When we first started playing the game, we took over a house, and that was our primary residence for storage and crafting and stuff like that. And then you had built us a secondary base that was specifically for Night 7. And I would like to get into Night 7.
Oh, boy.
That's the whole thing about this game as a survival aspect. The reason it's called 7 Days to Die is because you have 6 days and nights where it's normal. Everything is, you know, during the day, zombies are walking around, you fight them, you kill them, whatever. Then at night, when they see you, they can run.
Yeah, they're a little more feral.
Yeah, so only at night. But then Night 7.
That's a completely different ballgame.
That's a blood moon.
That is the blood moon.
And that is where they are...
Now, for anybody listening, that's traditionally, right? We're talking about traditional 7 days. You haven't changed anything with the time settings where it's... The Horde Night is specifically on day 7.
Yeah, traditionally, yeah. You can change settings before you start your server or your world or whatever, which changes certain things. But yeah, so traditionally, Night 7 is the blood moon, and that's where things start to get a little crazy. They will break walls.
A little?
Oh my god. It's like the movie World War Z, where like they start climbing on top of each other to get over your walls and stuff, and
they start stacking on top of each other trying to get over everything. Oh my goodness.
It gets insane.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it works, really. I mean, I never really figured it out, because, like... Is it a certain amount of zombies per player that spawn?
Yeah, so you can change that also in the server settings. But, so per player, it's... you set it to 8, then it's 8 per player. Over the course... No...
It's like at a time.
Yeah, at a time. Per wave, it's 8 per player.
Yeah.
So, and you can make it insane. I think you can go up to like 64 per player.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can make it disgustingly hard for yourself. You can become an absolute masochist with this game.
Because there's what, like 5 waves or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. It goes for the entire night, so it's however many for... It's however many as long as it takes, you know, until day rises.
Okay.
And you feel that sense of relief where you haven't crapped yourself, or if you have, it's a minimal amount.
Yeah, so it does get pretty crazy, and they'll spawn and they'll come at you from all angles, and they'll try to, if you're standing above them in a structure, they'll try to break the foundation of the structure you're standing in. If you decide to create an underground base with cages to shoot up at them, they'll break through the cages. They can dig. There's no safe place. You just have to fight. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You can try to create trap systems and funnels to you know, kind of guide them into your traps and kill holes and stuff like that. And it's just, it's tough but fun, honestly. And then after all that's done, then you got to repair your base.
Yeah. And then you spend the next day dealing with the day 8 horde, where all the heat that was generated from that spawns like 20 stupid screamers and 5 different frickin' wandering hordes, and you're sitting there just trying, I just want to rebuild the damages.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an open-ended game that there's really not, like... The reason I feel like we're so all over the place is because it's so open-ended. There's so many different aspects to this game that we could get into.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of Castle Crashers.
Yeah, like there's no story to keep us on track of how we're going to talk about this game, not to mention the fact that we're both exhausted, but like... Yeah, it's the you know, the weapons, the leveling, we could get into the leveling and talk about how did it used to be?
So before, skill books were not as heavily used by any stretch of the imagination. They were there as kind of a supplement. You know, you get the skill books, and okay, cool. I can now I know how to make a mini bike. I know how to make a bicycle. Or in Alpha 20, there were the like the Great Heists perk books where they kind of added bonuses to it, but it was less book heavy than it is in Alpha 21, which I personally think that's a really good system once you get used to it from switching over to alphas from the previous alphas. Once you understand this system and you start understanding, oh, I have to go into bookstores now to really kind of grab my items and level more, it makes again, going back to what I said at the beginning, it makes it so you're kind of forced to explore more instead of just sitting in your base cowering over the course of however long until you just get eaten by zombies.
you gotta go into Poopy Pants Daycare.
You gotta get to that daycare, man. You cannot survive if you're not in the daycare.
And that is the legitimate name of the daycare in the video game. It is called Poopy Pants Daycare, and I think that's fantastic.
It's so good.
So yeah, like you do need skill books and skill points in order to. Skill books and skill points have two separate effects.
Yes.
So skill points,
and they do stack off of each other. They really did a great job with this, with how that all went together.
Yeah, I agree. And so like, say you want to early on you want to get more pistols, more handgun stuff. There is a skill for you to put points into as you level up. I forget what it's called, and everything's a play on words. Everything is a pop culture reference to something else.
Pistol Pete,
yeah. So you put points into that, and then as you put points into Pistol Pete, now you find more handguns and handgun ammo throughout the world, and you're also more efficient with them, and you can reload faster. It does more damage when you do headshots and shit like that. But then when you find the books, it also adds proficiency, and now you'll be able to make better handguns, and now you can craft higher level handguns and stuff like that. So the skills and the books work off of each other really well, and you know, symbiotically, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there's definitely the excuse me. There's definitely that, like you said, symbiotic, where it's almost, you don't really expect, okay, by me leveling up my ability to hit harder with Pistol Pete, or, you know, being able to reload faster, at the same time, by getting that, you're now going to find more handguns. It's not until like you actually study or go through and look at, okay, in order to find more of these books, I have to get points into Pistol Pete. I'm going to find more of those books, and then I'll be able to find more pistols. And it's the same thing for almost every skill, where you need one to get to the other.
Yeah.
You know? And the skills, you know, that's just for finding things, for handguns, for machine guns, for shotguns, whatever, you know, the weaponry. But it
does the same thing with like vehicles and like really anything, books. You know, melee weapons, vehicles,
that's true.
Stamina, lock picking, all sorts of different. And then there's also skills for like, you know, for treasure hunter, where like if you're doing the buried treasure missions, now you have to dig fewer spots in order to unbury the treasure or whatever. There's a skill for everything. There's a book for everything, and finding out what combination of what, and you know, what build you want your character to have essentially is the best way to go about it, I would say. Yeah. And if you're playing multiplayer with your friends, you know, you say you got like, you know, you were proficient with machetes and blades, and so you were the one crafting and using more blades. I was a sniper, so I was getting all the sniper books. I was making the sniper rifles for everybody and doing the long range kills. And then like I think your wife was doing a lot of the farming stuff and cooking stuff, so she was, you know, building up her proficiency and all that stuff. And it was teamwork based, and I thought that was really great.
Yeah, it's really cool how you can be a one-man army in this game. You can go through and get everything, but excuse me, the idea of like having to rely on some of your teammates to be able to do this, it adds another factor to this game, and it really it makes the game go faster too, where you don't have to worry so much about getting food because somebody already has it. You don't have to worry so much about having a resident locksmith because you have Rob.
You also don't have to worry about having any buildings anywhere within miles that have zombies in them because I just go around slaughtering everything. My kill count was something like 1,300 above yours, I think.
It was so bad. I had a higher level because I was dealing with like trying to.
You were doing construction.
Yeah, I was doing the base, but like your kill count was massive, man. Oh,
I think when we stopped playing, my kill count was somewhere around like 4,000.
It was so high. It matched my amount of hours in the game.
Oh my god! Because I was just literally, I was walking through the snow biome. I was walking through. I would take my motorcycle to the middle of the snow biome and I would just get off and walk. And I was just sniping everything. And it was fun. And I remember actually, so I want to get off of this. We got to start wrapping up a little bit. Yeah. So I do want to just share a couple of fun stories with anybody listening. So yeah, I was literally towards the end of it just walking through the snow biome, sniping everything that I could possibly find. But when it came to enemy slaughters, we had an experience at a certain Shotgun Messiah factory that was like, okay, I have a decent PC. Nothing too crazy, nothing groundbreaking.
Compared to mine, though.
This was about to crash my PC.
Yeah.
And I think I dipped down to something like 20 frames per second. It was about to crash my game. I could hear my fans running like crazy. Your wife's poor computer was at like 4 frames per second. So yeah. What happened was we had generated enough heat going into this Shotgun Messiah factory.
We were about halfway through at this point, too.
Yeah. So we had generated enough heat at this point by killing all the zombies. We were making enough noise because we didn't have any silencers either. But shriekers, or screamers, whatever you want to call them.
Screamers, yeah.
Which are these zombies akin to the witches from Left 4 Dead, if anybody's familiar with that, where all they do is once they detect certain activity, they scream and they attract other zombies. So there were like 6 of them on the outside of this building.
Yeah.
And they were all going off at once, multiple times. Now we had multiple walking hordes of zombies, in addition to the zombies that we had to deal with inside the building.
Yeah, mind you, we're about halfway through this, right? So we're super high up there. We're a few levels beyond being able to see and actually get rid of these.
Yeah, and I'm sniping my best. Like I'm doing my best to snipe down the side of the. I'm standing on the edge of the roof, looking down, trying to snipe these screamers to try to get them to stop. But the more screamers that scream, the more screamers that come.
Yep.
So it started with like 6. It ended with like a dozen. So what ended up happening, and it happened only because we needed it to happen. We couldn't finish this any other way. But Fred here actually went into command console, and you went into God mode, and he went into God mode, and he got himself. I don't even know what you did. You just started clearing house.
Yeah, he needed insta-kill pistol.
Yeah, he needed to clear something. Like 70 zombies.
It was it had to be close to 100. It really was so many.
Yeah, it was so much that like while I was standing in a safe spot in the building, and so was his wife, because there's a shared XP counter. So like when one person kills zombies, it can add XP to every other player on that team. Mm-hmm. And so I'm standing in a safe spot, and I'm just watching the corner of my screen go up and up and up and up and up and up and up with XP. So much so, like I'm lagging because everything is just so much at once. It was so insane.
Yeah.
And that was our Shotgun Messiah story, and it just I couldn't believe how bad that actually got. I mean, you're like. Your wife had to change her graphical settings to like
absolute nothing.
Yeah, so essentially like the game was running on a potato.
It was, yeah. But it was still struggling.
It was, oh my God. And like, I think I changed my render distance down quite a bit, I believe.
Yeah, I think I even had to drop my settings too with my, 1080.
And I'm running a 3070 Tough Gaming, and I was crawling.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Sorry.
God.
But we tried.
We did try. It's I'm really upset about that. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, we'll get there. So that's our craziest story, I believe, that we had from our experience with 7 days, at least with me. This gentleman here put a lot of time into something called Darkness Falls. Now I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let you go off about what the modding community is like with this game.
The amount of times through this podcast I had to stop myself from saying something, oh no, wait, that's Darkness Falls. Nope, this is Darkness Falls. It's throughout the entire thing. It was just constantly, because we're 7 days in and of itself is an amazing game. But the community, just one person, right? I'm talking about Darkness Falls. Just one person created a mod.
That was one person?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
A mod that has gone to the point of doubling the amount of gameplay. And I'm talking where you stop at having feral whites, you stop at having these parasites, you stop at having cop zombies and demo men, right? They're super hard enemies to defeat. But then after that, you go into Darkness Falls, where you start getting into more of a hellish landscape, where you now have to go into the wasteland to actually finish things, and it adds so much more story to the game too. So it's I'm kind of going all over the place here, but you're starting off just as you would in 7 days. You have to go through, and it's you get your basic things and you do your basic quests until eventually you find some until eventually with the trader you start getting special quests, and at this point you can then unlock going to the more Darkness Falls aspect of this, where you get I think the first one is Anne is the doctor that you find, and you have to kind of work with her. You have to start doing quests for her, to where you then can unlock the next one and the next one, until you're getting to the point of it's no longer just zombies. You're now Doom Guy, and you are fighting off demons. You're fighting off hordes of just straight demons. It's insane. And the crafting overhaul that they've done to it, the perk system overhaul that they've done to it, you have to be very experienced with the game, I'll say, to do Darkness Falls, because it is not beginner friendly. And I say that because you have to choose a skill tree that you start off with. Now, in my mind, if you're smart, you'll start off with Farmer. It's tough. It's tough because you don't have the beginner gear that you would in Labor, or you would in Survivalist, I think is the other one. But with farming, you have the ability to make your own food. You cannot do that with any other of the classes. You can find food, you can do that, but it makes, where I was saying before that you had that anxiety of going into POIs, Darkness Falls doubles that immediately, because you have these zombies that are very easy to kill on the outside, but once you go into a POI, it's nightmarish. And it's not even that it's that bad. You're going through and you're fighting just regular zombies, but they hit so much harder. They're faster, they're stronger, they're smarter, and you're with basic things like you've got a bone knife that you're trying to attack this everybody's waifu with, like you're but at the same time she's kicking your ass because you're not able to do it fast enough. They've nerfed so many things and made so many things harder that it really adds this layer of difficulty and experience and growth to the game, that when you're done and you're bored with 7 days, you're now you now have a whole world to explore of lore and backstory and everything. And really, if you've played 7 Days to the point where you're just kind of tired of it, if you've got 4,300 hours in your game, if you found so many toilet pistols that you don't know what to do with yourself anymore, first off, screw you. I don't know how you find that many because I haven't found like 5. Anyway, I would 100% recommend Darkness Falls. 100%, you will not go wrong with that one. And that's just Darkness Falls. That's the only one I've really played because there's plenty more about. There's Romero Mod, which I'm not going to go into any of them because I don't know specifically. But there's Ravenhurst. There's a bunch of different mods that you can play around with, enjoy, and they add so much more because these people love this game that they just started with.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing to see what the Fun Pimps have really brought out with just by making this game and making it available to people and showing that they care about gaming. They've opened up a world of people who may not have done this or just kind of tinker around with it to really have a passion project in their game.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, and I really respect the Fun Pimps and all of the devs in that who have done all that they've done with this game. Yeah,
and it is a fantastic game. I really got to say I'm glad that I had the opportunity to play this with you, and it's been a blast, and we will revisit it. I'm sure that one day we'll I'll download Darkness Falls and we'll play that together.
And you'll hate yourself.
Likely, but. With that being said, you know what? Let's give this game a rating. Let's wrap this up and let's give this game a rating. So, do you have any scale of which you'd like to rate this out of?
I mean, the obvious one is out of 7 days. But
wow,
I mean that's.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I'm trying to overcomplicate it in my head, and I'm like, okay, there's 100 stamina. What can we do? It's like, what the fuck?
We could do just straight 7 days. I mean, we could go out of.
No, I like that. Out of 7 days, yeah. Because why the hell wouldn't we?
You sure you don't want to go out of how many people love one waifu? Because I don't think we could go infinite with that one.
No, I think 7 days.
I think
7 days is good.
7 days. Sure.
So
good idea.
So for standard 7 days, no mods, what would you rate this game out of 7?
I would say standard.
You can give it a fraction of a number too. You don't have to be like perfect solid numbers.
I'd say with me, I would probably give it 6 in the morning days, right? So,
okay,
because it's really a great game because of the community, because of what Joel and the devs over at Fun Pimps have really made with this game, and all of the bugs and all of the issues that have happened, they address them constantly. Anything that you can find that really is kind of a downfall with the game, as far as bugs go, yeah, it's alpha, but yeah, they're going to patch it because they're actively doing this. They're actively working on it. So it's I would say 6 in the morning for me.
Okay. That's fair. I'm going to be a little bit more critical in this game. I'm going to give the game a 5.5. A 5 and a noon, I guess.
5 and a lunchtime.
5 and a lunchtime, yeah. So, and that's only because, like, I did only experience this game for the first time recently. I don't have the history with the game like you do. I definitely feel and see where it's a little dated, but that being said, I had a great time playing this game, and I will continue to have a great time playing this game. I absolutely do recommend this game. It's just, certain aspects of the game, like the menu being difficult to navigate, and parts of it are I don't even want to give it knock it some points for feeling dated, because I mean, yeah, it does, but like this is a fucking kind of like sort of retro gaming podcast. Like not really, but you know, it's we talked about Castle Crashers, which is 5 years older than this, and you know, granted that game
Land for that.
Yeah, and that's the same age, but it's like it does feel dated, but that doesn't matter as much. It's certain. Really, the menu loses points. There's a lack of music in the game. There's
which they are starting to address, but I do agree with you with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of years down the line we decide to revisit this game on the show and talk another episode about it, seeing where the game is at in a couple of years. Yeah. It could be a totally different game 2 years from now. We don't know. But I think, you know, my definitive rating is 5 and a lunch.
Yeah. 5
and a lunchtime, so 5.5.
I like that idea.
And now, just as a fun one, what would you rate Darkness Falls? Because I never played Darkness Falls, so what would that be on your out of 7?
You know, I'm gonna have to think about that one. Because there's the definite fuck you factor. Like you want to talk about masochism? Dear God, that mod alone just makes you hate life at the beginning. There's really no hand-holding to it at all. I mean, you have to be a veteran player. Otherwise, you're going to hate the game. You know what? Being a veteran player, having all of those hours and everything... I'd have to rate it probably... I'd have to say probably 5 in an evening. Okay. No. 6.
Solid 6?
I'm going to say solid 6 because how do I gripe this? Because there's so little hand-holding with it. And again, you know, I can't, that's why I said I can't really gripe that because it's a veteran-based thing.
That's why you like it. I mean, I know it's not going to get a perfect score from you for that.
No. But it's
a respectable score. I mean, that's definitely a recommendation.
Yeah. I would anybody who has played 7 Days to the point of, okay, I'm kind of bored with it, please do yourself a favor. Try out Darkness Falls and try out the other mods too. I mean, there's so many I have no idea about, right? I mean, Ravenhurst, I heard, is absolutely incredible. Same with Romero mod. I've heard that one is great too. But I mean, Darkness Falls in and of itself, no, there's no hand-holding to it. It's just the ultimate, fuck you, go have fun. Or don't, I don't care. Where you're trying your hardest to kind of just survive the bare basics until, of course, you get my favorite weapon of all time, which is the laser sword, and you just go bzz, bzz, bzz,
that's a thing.
It's so cool.
Oh man,
it's purple. It's purple.
Damn.
It's so good. It's so good.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to download that, and I'll hit you up when I get back from my vacation, and we'll have to play some of that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. With that being said, let's. I think that's a good place to call it with this podcast. This was a longer episode than I thought we were going to squeeze out of it. I know we definitely scratched the surface of this game.
Yeah.
There's still a lot we didn't get to.
Oh God, so much.
And I'm just to drop like some of the Easter eggs like Red Mesa and whatnot. But like, listen, I would love to get into that, but we've run long enough. And honestly, to anybody who this game sounds interesting to, go get it. Please try the game. You can get the preview for it on Game Pass if you have it.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to pay any extra for it. I understand, it can be, I think it's still like $35 or something like that.
Yeah. Now, one thing, if you're playing on console, be careful because if I remember right, there was a point where the Fun Pimps had a different studio that was doing their console version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they stopped production on it, so it was stuck at Alpha 15. Oh. I know that they are working on trying to get everything going. I don't know where that's at now, though.
Okay.
So, and I believe that they're kind of trying to really get it back into there because they don't want to limit it.
Yeah.
Because it's all about gaming.
Yeah.
So I believe if you get it on Game Pass, I believe I
look
don't
into
have
it
an
first.
Xbox. Yeah, look into it first and see.
Okay.
And be careful if you look at tutorials because, again, this game has been out for 13 years, so you have to make sure that you're
10
looking
years.
at them. 10 years. Sorry, I was thinking 2013. But you have to be careful what you're looking at because a lot of the information that you can find will be old. And especially with how upset the community had gotten over the console version being stuck at A15 for so long, you're going to find a lot of that too. So just bear that in mind if you want to get it for console. Until kind of that all blows over. But if you got it for PC, or if you want it for PC, please get it. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself that favor.
Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. And maybe even, if you don't like what we're saying about it, just YouTube it. Check it out. Yeah. Definitely check it out. It's fun. It's a good game. But
it really.
All right. Let's wrap this up. We've gone on long enough. Thank you all for listening. And remember, I don't really know all that they're going to accomplish, but if you leave me any comments, leave a like, leave a follow. Right now we're on Podbean still, but working on getting over to more. And you can find us on Instagram at The Bards of Gaming, and you can find us on X or Twitter at 2Bards of Gaming with the number 2. And yes, there are 2 of us at the moment, but
you're throwing up like gang signs like 2 bards.
I'm gonna get that tattooed. But all right, thanks for listening, and hope you all enjoyed. So yeah.
And everyone, if no one's told you this today, I appreciate you.
Stay hydrated. Bye.